As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium as we get set for game number one between the Pierre Post State and Aberdeen Smittys, as the Aberdeen Smittys are taking the IO right now. Jack Van Camp will be the starter in game number one for the Pierre Post State team as he looks to throw strikes. Got to throw strikes, got to throw plenty of strikes, pepper that strike zone, and force Aberdeen to put the ball in play and let the defense work behind you. It's going to be the number one goal here for Jack Van Camp in game number one. As we go through the lineup, as we start with the Aberdeen Smitties, in right field, batting first is Avery Badmoccasin. At shortstop would be Jose Malencio, the shortstop. Has three-hitter Aiden McCafferty as the center fielder. Matt Fyock is the first baseman in the cleanup spot. Tyler Hoffman's the left fielder batting fifth. Josh Steinwant is the third baseman batting sixth. Chuck Olson will bat seventh and play second base. It is Hunter Riggenberg that will be the DH batting eighth. And then Max Preen is the catcher as he bats ninth. Brock Martin is on the mound for game number one for the Aberdeen Smitties, looking for win number one on the 2020 season. For Post States, again, talking about Jack Van Camp being the starting pitcher for game one. Andrew Coverdale is going to lead things off playing second base. Garrett Stout will be the shortstop batting second. Andy Gordon's the first baseman as he bats third. Gray Zabel is a DH batting fourth. Not a whole lot of change to this lineup, especially the first seven guys. Cade Hinkle's batting at fifth and catching. River Iverson's out in left field batting sixth. Matt Lusk will bat seventh and play center field. A.J. Gaden is in the right field as he will bat number eight. The number 9 hitter in the order. Getting set for this first game as waiting for Aberdeen to finish their IO, and then we'll be ready for baseball here this evening from Hyde Stadium. Also want to mention, too, as we get into this broadcast, and if you have been following along on our social media or listening early this morning, have a slight chance of some severe weather, yes, in the Pier 4 Pier area, but also just in general of our listening area. So we might have to move things around if we don't have a delay here, but there's severe weather in the area around us in our listening area. So we'll keep you updated whether we're going to stay on KCCR. We'll go to maybe our YouTube channel for just a little bit to continue the game, or I'll direct you over to the FM stations on Capital City Rock and Country 95.3 for Zach Nelson's severe weather coverage. And it all depends on where the storms are at, what's all going on. So we'll kind of play that as it happens, and hopefully we won't have to worry about any of it. Maybe we'll just get a full 2 games of baseball with no bad weather in the entire listening area, and we have ourselves a clean day of baseball here at Hyde Stadium. These two teams will meet again on Sunday, as we'll be in Aberdeen for that doubleheader, and both those games at 1 and around 3 would be on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Post State coming in, winning 4 in a row. They beat Renner and Post 22 on Sunday. Renner, they won 3-1. Post 22, they won in a walk-off 7-6. First game in yesterday against the Post 320 Stars was a 6-5 win. Did not allow that game to get tied. And that's you look at those 2 games, the one they won on the end Sunday and the begin Tuesday. You lost the lead, able to come back and win. You kept leading the second game, and then, of course, you won 7-2 in the third game. It really has got to make you feel good in any situation for the Post State team, for Coach Wyatt, for Coach Nas, but just in general for this team, for these players, that you get late in the game, in a close game, you feel good that you can win the ball game, whether it's come back in your last at-bat or finish the team out in their last at-bat in those close ball games, and that can go a long way in this season, of course, with the different rules, a different state tournament for this year, as we'll have 2 different rounds of a best of 3 with a 1-16, and then you go from there. Those top 8 seeds will host the bottom 8 seeds in a best of 3, and then the next top 4 seeds will host the bottom 4 seeds in the next round, best of 3, to get to the 4-team state tournament. So it's going to be just a little bit different than what it will normally be, where it's just the round of 16, a best of 3, and then those 8 winners would advance to the state tournament. It's going to be the case in 2021, but here in 2020, we're trying to limit the amount of teams that we have in an area, and we're going to want 4 teams in one area when we get to the state tournament at the beginning of August. Post State at 5-3. Aberdeen Smitty looking for their first win of the season. We'll have first pitch come up here in just a little bit. Back in 2 minutes. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium, getting set for game number one. The national anthem will be played in between games as Jack Van Camp has taken the mound for the Pierre Post States team as they look for win number 5 in a row. As we'll go through those defensive alignments here in just a little bit. For the Aberdeen Smittys, Avery Badmoccasin will lead things off playing right field. Jose Malencio will be the shortstop batting second. Aiden McCafferty is the center fielder batting third. Matt Fyack, the first baseman in the cleanup spot. Tyler Hoffman is batting fifth, playing left field. Josh Steinwant is the third baseman batting sixth. Chuck Olson will bat seventh, playing second base. It is Hunter Regenberg, the DH, batting eighth. And Max Preen is the catcher as he bats ninth. And they will go against the left-hander, Jack Van Camp. As Post States, he's looking to get that confidence rolling. He's looking to throw a lot of strikes here against this Aberdeen Smittys team, and he wants to make sure that they remain winless, especially after game one of the doubleheader. And who might be the starter for game number 2? They're going to be wanting to hopefully keep them also. They also keep them at a winless record here as we play into the middle of June. We still have another doubleheader on tap tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Will be the first pitch of that doubleheader as Sioux Falls West will be in town, and Post State would be hoping that they could potentially have that win streak at 6 going into that doubleheader against Sioux Falls West. So we're just about set here for baseball this evening. As we play here nearing that 5 o'clock hour, you're listening to KCCR Pierre Riverfront Broadcasting Station. Yeah, we had to wait an hour yesterday to get things started because of the bus breaking down for Rapid City Post 320, and hoping that they didn't hear that they didn't make it back in safely, so hoping that they were able to make it back in a decent time. The first pitch is low for ball 1 at 5 o'clock here on this Wednesday evening. Glad you could join us here on today's KCCR, today'skccr.com. Also, you can check us out on our YouTube channel, KCCR Sports. Search for that. There's a ground ball on the 1-0 pitch. Van Camp will field his position. Throw to first is in time. And the leadoff man is retired to open up the ball game. So left to right in the outfield, River Iverson, Matt Lusk, and A.J. Gaden are the 3 outfielders. Lincoln Keenels, Garrett Stout, Andrew Coverdale, Andy Gordon from left to right on the infield. Kane Hinkle is behind home plate. And Jack Van Camp has got the first man retired. And here's Jose Malencio, the shortstop for Aberdeen. First pitch to him, swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Malencio from the Dominican Republic, as he has joined the team for this is his first chance to play for Aberdeen. The 0-1 pitch is taken for a strike, too, and is now 0-2. The number 2 hitter. Van Camp from the windup. Here is the 0-2 pitch. There's a line shot to the left side. That's a base hit, and a good job there from Malencio on a 2-strike pitch. Able to go into left field for a 1-out single. And that'll bring in Aiden McCafferty, the center fielder. As we talk about some of these Aberdeen players, and they're looking just like Post State, playing for the first time since March or earlier. As the first pitch is a swing and a miss to Aiden McCafferty. And you look at a lot of these early season games. That one was fouled off. McCafferty rolls back to the mound for Jack Van Camp. A lot of these early season games, you see these teams for the first time. Post 22 is probably the only team that really, well, I guess they were the only team that had more than 2 games played going into the ball game up until we got to yesterday. And even then with the Rapid City Post 320 Stars at 3-6, weren't off to a good start. Everybody's looked a little rusty still. The 1-2 pitch from Van Camp to McCafferty, a swing and a miss. And there's the first strikeout here for Van Camp. And there's 2 down here in the top of the first. And I'll bring in Matt Fyack, the first baseman. Fyack, the goaltender for the Aberdeen Cougars for the last couple of years. The first pitch to the first baseman. It's taken for strike 1. Andy Gordon's over at first base. Those 2 guys, one's trying to score on him all the time. The other one's trying to frustrate the goal scorer in Gordon. There's a 0-1 pitch that is fouled. Somehow 5 was able to get around on it, fouled it down the third baseline. And it's now 0-2. And Van Camp's trying to make short work of this top of the first, even giving up that one-out single. Van Camp from the stretch. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss in the dirt, and a good tag by Hinkle, and that will retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. Half an inning has gone by as Aberdeen is held scoreless. Post State coming to the plate. You're listening to Post State Baseball, and today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. Yes, please. Yeah, the radio guy for Aberdeen said he moved and just started this summer with them. Bottom of the first, as we welcome you back here at the Hyde Stadium, it is going to be Andrew Coverdale, Garrett Stout, and Andy Gordon to lead things off. Gray Zabel about 4th in the DH spot. Kane Hinkle is batting 5th at catching. River Iverson is the left fielder, as he will bat 6th. Matt Lusk will bat 7th, playing center field. A.J. Gaden is batting 8th, playing right field. And Lincoln Keenels is the third baseman as he bats 9th. As they face the left-hander and Brock Martin for Aberdeen. As the left-hander, not a very tall left-handed thrower. Seen a lot of soft tossers the last couple of games for the opposing teams. He's got some decent velocity on that fastball. We'll see how if he cranks it up once he get into that bottom of the first inning. Andrew Coverdale, as he's going to come step to the plate. 8 games so far for Post State. He's 6 for 8 in that leadoff spot in the first inning. That's a pretty good batting average. Even if he goes 0 for 2 in these next 2 games, it's still a 600 batting average to open up a ball game. Brock Martin, the left-hander, he's going to work from the stretch to open up the bottom of the first inning. Here's the first pitch to Coverdale. That one misses upstairs for ball 1. Coverdale has not even drawn a walk. He's just actually gotten 8 at-bats in the first inning in 8 games so far. Here's the 1-0 to Coverdale. That one is looked at for strike 1. It's now 1-1. It's just, this lineup has stayed the same for the most part for Post State. A couple of additions, subtractions at the bottom of the lineup. The 1-1 pitch, that one's fouled, and it's now 1-2 to the leadoff hitter Coverdale. But really look through the first 6, 7 guys. Actually, really, the first 7 guys. They've pretty much been a staple in this lineup. Unless one of those are on the mound to start the ball game, they've been in the batting order. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one's chopped foul, and we'll do it again at 1-2. Coverdale, Stout, and Gordon here in the bottom of the first inning. Also remind you that Coach Ryan Kruger, the assistant baseball coach for the Pierre Governor High School baseball team, will be joining us around the third inning here, the game number 1. 1-2. That one's popped up left side, going back on as a center fielder, McCaffrey. That one continues to carry out there. One hops off the wall, and Andrew Coverdale has a leadoff double here at the bottom of the first inning. Boy, yesterday that ball probably would have stayed well within range of the left and center fielder, but instead that one kept carrying out into left center field, and a 1-out and a leadoff double, 1 hop off the wall double for Andrew Coverdale, and make it 7 for 9 now from that leadoff spot in the first inning for Coverdale. Here's Garrett Stout, the shortstop, already a man in scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Martin from the stretch. Here's the first pitch to Stout. That one's flown out to center field. Going back on McCafferty again, still going back. He'll reach up, make the catch. Coverdale will tag and get to third. And so there's one down, and that'll bring in Andy Gordon. And the RBI machine and Andy Gordon averaging well over an RBI game. He's been the hottest hitter, been the most consistent hitter for Post State, although I would probably say the hottest hitter's on deck in Gray Zabel. The ball hard all night last night as the first pitch is taken for strike one to Andy Gordon. Then you also got to throw Andrew Coverdale on the mix too, because if you're 7 for 9 from the leadoff spot, you're hitting the ball pretty well the first 9 games of the season. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one gets through the catcher and Preen, and Coverdale will jog on home, and there's the first run of the ball game. And it's 1-0 here for Post State in the bottom of the first with one down. Sioux Falls West will be the team tomorrow. 4 o'clock start, so we're going to get an hour earlier through all 3 days. We started at 6 o'clock yesterday, 5 o'clock here today, and 4 o'clock tomorrow. The 1-1 pitch. That one's fouled back and will hit the top of the press box. It's now 1-2. Wind not much of a factor at all so far here. We'll see if that wind does pick up at all throughout the evening. And, of course, with that slight chance of some severe weather in the area later on this evening, that wind could very easily pick up. 2-2 is the count to Andy Gordon. Brock Martin will come set. And here is the 2 pitch. High and outside is now a full count to the number 3 hitter, Gordon. And on deck is the dangerous Gray Zabel. Zabel had a couple RBIs in game number 2. Hit the ball hard in his 3 at-bats. Went 2 for 3. 3-2 pitch, chopped foul. As Gordon was well out in front of it, able to fight it off and stay alive. This team, last year, you look at the high school baseball team and go into the summer, and team just didn't hit the ball very well from start to finish. Had a couple when the team got hot, that was when Post State and the high school baseball team, the Governors, as that one's going to be fouled away and remain full here at 3-2. When that team started to hit the ball well, you saw them rattle off wins after win. But then the bats would go cold quite often, more than you would like in a baseball season. The 3-2 pitch, that one's chopped to the right side. That one's going to be fielded by the second baseman, Olson. The throw to first is in time, and there's now 2 down here in the bottom of the first inning. But if Post State continues to hit the ball as well as they have in the last week, and it's just the start of the season, this is a team that can really rattle off a lot of wins. The pitching is going to be there. Continue to hit the ball as well as they have been. That's going to really help this ball club down the stretch. And if you get a best-of-3 series, boy, that pitching staff for Post State is going to be one of the best in the state, has to be one of the best in the state, and can really make a deep run trying to win a state championship for the first time since 2017. First pitch to Gray Zabel is taken for strike 1. They're going to put an extreme shift on here for Zabel. They don't realize that he uses all parts of the field. His 2 hits were in the left field yesterday. But the second baseman, Olson, is out in right field. Malencio, the shortstop's behind or to the right side of second base, and the third baseman, Steinwan, is playing at shortstop pretty much. The 1-1, that one misses. Now 2-1. The center fielder and McCafferty, he is well far to the right side. Boy, that left fielder and Hoffman is really going over the left center field gap as Zabel will ground this over to the shift into right field, and there's going to be no play, so Gray Zabel is going to have an infield single as Olson couldn't get over to it. Malencio probably had the best play of it. If he's playing his normal position, that's an easy ground ball for the third out, but instead Zabel's got himself an infield single. There's Cade Hinkle. But Zabel especially the first part of this season, has really used all parts of the field. Really lets that ball travel deep into the plate and goes the other way with it. Has been going the other way with it a lot. That time he chopped that one over, but it was in the right spot in the shift and able to get an infield single. Brock Martin, first pitch to Cade Hinkle is taken for strike one, and there might have been a mix-up on signs. That one went either off the palm of the glove of Preen or right off of his chest protector. And it's 0-1 either way to the catcher, Cade Hinkle. Already the third left-handed hitter to come up to face the left-handed pitcher, Brock Martin. Zabel leads away from first. The 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled back and out of play, and it's now 0-2. Hoffman's out in left field. McCafferty in center. Bad Moccasin in right. Steinwatts the third baseman. Malencio the shortstop. Olson the second baseman. Fiak the first baseman. Preen is behind the plate as he delivers the sign to Brock Martin, and he delivers the 0-2 pitch. Upstairs, Zabel takes off for second. He's going to get there with standing up. It's now 1-2. And Zabel was off with the first movement, and he was able to get there without a slide attempts. It's not now a base hit. Can make it 2-0 here for Post State in the bottom of the first. Here comes the 1-2. That one is upstairs, now 2-2 to the catcher, Hinkle. Beautiful night. Beautiful day. I shouldn't say night. Plenty of daylight left. Here's the 2-2 pitch with two down here in the bottom of the first inning. Swing and a miss. Hinkle goes down on strikes. One run, two hits, no errors, and one man left on base. We have played one complete. It's a 1-0 lead for Post State's over Aberdeen. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyatt Stadium, top of the second, Tyler Hoffman, Josh Steinwalt, and Chuck Olson, the first three hitters, as it's 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Aberdeen Smittys. Here in the top of the second, Jack Van Camp gave up a lone single to Malencio, and he was stranded at first base in the top of the first. 1-0 is our score as we play here in the top of the second, as crowd's still trying to file in here at Hyatt Stadium. That 5 o'clock start, that 6 o'clock start really helped everybody get to Hyatt Stadium for that first pitch of game number 1. But the long travel makes it a little bit easier to start a little bit earlier in the evening. 1-0 pitch. That one's flown out to right field. A.J. Gayden coming over for it. It's going to bounce in front of him for a base hit and a leadoff single for Tyler Hoffman. And the second hit given up by Jack Van Camp. As we play here in the top of the second, here's Josh Steinwatts, the third baseman. The left-handed hitting third baseman will dig in for his first at-bat. As Van Camp will work from the stretch, the first pitch is fouled out of play, and it's 0-1 to the third baseman and Josh Steinwatts. In Aberdeen looking for their first win here in 2020. Post State looking for a 5 in a row. Get that win streak up to 5. There's a ground ball to up the middle. Flip for 1 to second. The throw back to first is not going to be in time. I don't know if maybe Andy Gordon was off the bag or if he beat it cleanly. It's still going to be a fielder's choice anyway. And there's one down as Coverdale had a nice flip to second base to Garrett Stout. Here's Chuck Olson. Olson, second baseman here in game number 1 for the Aberdeen Smittys. Not a big roster for the Smittys. Look at guys that on the bench, only 3 guys on the bench, so 13 players in total here for Aberdeen. And you look at Post State, you got 19 guys on the roster and trying to maneuver jerseys around because there's not enough, because you never had 19 guys on the team before. Have a season like you do right now and plenty of games in a short amount of time, and got a couple guys that will most likely pitch and only pitch this year. But you got to make do with what you have, and everything kind of came together pretty quick in terms of what they're going to do for the baseball season. Van Camp will come set. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Olson. Upstairs now 3-1. And it was pretty confusing, especially if you weren't in South Dakota. It was really confusing on how things went for the Legion season. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and that one's fouled back 3-2. Or even really, when I talked to Coach White before they had made the decision, didn't make the decision, whatever, or made the decision not to play, made the decision to play, he had said, there's a really good chance, and most likely 3-2, a swing and a miss, and there's a second out. Chuck Olson goes down as they'll bring in Hunter Riggenberg. But Coach White had said, yeah, we're going to play baseball. One way or the other, we're going to play baseball. And that kind of what made South Dakota Legion say, yes, we're going to have a season because these guys are going to play, so we'll be the governing body for this for the season. And then the American Legion, the national headquarters, came down and said, we're not going to have any season at all, as the first pitch is outside 1-0, which in turn made everything look like, all of a sudden we're not having any baseball. There's not going to be any baseball. But after all that, it was more so we're still going to play baseball. We're just not going to be the American Legion said we're not going to have, the national headquarters say we're not going to have a technical Legion season, as it's now 1-1 to Riggenberg. And, of course, for South Dakota, all the American Legion said we're going to help support just like we normally would, although it's not a technical Legion season this summer. 1-2, now the count to Riggenberg. And that's very, very good on the American Legions throughout the state, obviously, of course, for Pierre. 1-2 comes in and hits Riggenberg. And it's now first and second with 2 down, excuse me. That'll be Max Preen to come to the plate, the number 9 hitter in the order. Because it's not a technical American Legion season, the Post-State Legion here in town could have said, no, we'll get back to you in 2021. But they love the game of baseball. They love what Pierre brings to the table and the support that they have throughout the season, that they want to be absolutely a big part of their season, just like they normally are. And that's a lot for these kids, means a lot for these kids. Here's the 0-1. That one's fouled away, and it's now 0-2. First and second here with 2 down. Steinwant at second. Riggenberg at first. Count is 0-2 to Max Preen. Here's the 0-2 pitch upstairs, and it's now 1-2, trying to get him to chase one out of the zone. Preen is the number 9 hitter in the order. Trying to strand another 2 guys on base is Jack Van Camp. And here comes the 1-2 pitch. Upstairs again, now 2-2. Not a bad spot again from Van Camp. Those fastballs look pretty good from the hitter's eye coming in. Here's a 2-2. That one's grounded. Van Camp couldn't make the play. Might have gone off of his glove. Stout will field, and the throw to first is in time and retires the side. So we'll just record it as a 6-3 put out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played an inning and a half. Post-State leads 1-0 over the Aberdeen Smittys. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second. It's going to be 6, 7, and 8 here for Post 8. River Iverson, Matt Lusk, and A.J. Gaden, the first three hitters, followed by Lincoln Keenels if anybody gets on base. Coach Ryan Kruger, the assistant baseball coach for the Pierre High School baseball team, he'll be joining us here in about another inning or so, as we'll talk with him about the high school baseball team, but about baseball just in general. A chance to talk with him as we continue throughout the season. We'll have a lot of these Pierre coaches, and of course Headley White Capitals coach as well. Steve Steele had knocked out 2-1 there with the head coach of the football team as well as the hockey team. But we'll talk with the Pierre coaches throughout the summer, have a chance to bring them in the broadcast booth and have some fun talking about not only their sport, but talking about the Pierre athletics in general and the Post 8. You know, a lot of these coaches that for the guys' teams, they see multiple guys on the Post 8 team that they had in their season. Obviously, for Pierre baseball team, you see everybody that you had playing baseball too. So it'll be fun to talk with Coach Ryan Kruger here tonight as he'll join us here in a couple of innings. River Iverson, as we look back to yesterday against the Post 320 Stars. Gonna get the notes back out here. Went 2 for 5 in the doubleheader. Scored 3 different times. Had a infield single. He's an infield single machine. As he's going to bunt this one down the third base line. The third baseman, the throw to first is not going to be in time, and it's going to get over to right field. Iverson's going to round second base. He's going to try and get to third. He's going to run through the stop sign of Coach White, and he's going to get to third base. I think Coach White has told him to stop, but he got there without a throw. So we'll give an infield single and then a throwing error by the third baseman by Steinwatt. And it's a runner on third with nobody out. Here's Matt Lusk, who probably didn't think when Iverson dropped down that bunt that he would have an RBI opportunity when he came up to the plate, but here he is. The first pitch to Lusk is up high for ball 1. Matt Lusk got the save in game number 1, those 2 scoreless innings. Now 2-0 to the center fielder. Yesterday, Lusk did not record a hit, but he reached base 4 times. The 2-0 looked at for strike 1. Still good hitters count here for the center fielder, Matt Lusk. The 2-1 pitch. That one misses low, now 3-1. I believe, don't know the exact pitch count, but he might even be available tomorrow against Sioux Falls West. Potentially close another game. Here comes the 3-1 from Brock Martin to Matt Lusk. And that one misses, taken for ball 4. The first 2 men have reached base, and they're at the corners with nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. Here's A.J. Gaden. Gaden with a scoreless top of the 7th. First time he was able to throw from the mound in 2 years. Going to be exciting for him. You can tell maybe a little bit of some nerves in the first couple hitters. He got that first out, and he retired 3 in a row to end the ball game. Pickoff attempt. Matt Lusk is headed for second, and he's going to get there without a throw, so he's going to get the stolen base after he was picked off. But the first baseman, Fyox, had no shot at getting him. Didn't even make a throw attempt. So it's now second and third with nobody out. So now base hit can make it a 3-0 lead. And Gaden can get himself 2 RBIs with one swing. That one's popped up on the right side. It's going to stay in fair territory. The second baseman's going to miss it. And it's going to be dropped down, and Iverson's going to come to score. The throw misses Fyox, and Gaden will get over to second base. And it's now a 2-0 lead. As it's now second and third with nobody out. I believe it'll be a base hit and an error Base hit for Gaden and an error on the second baseman, allowing Gaden to get to second. So give Gaden an RBI as well. As the first pitch is taken for strike one to Lincoln Keenels. Second and third with nobody out. Here's a 0-1 pitch. That one's flown out of play and it's now 0-2. Keenels started game one with a 2 RBI double back in the second inning of that winning post 320 yesterday. That was the only time that Pierre scored in that ball game. They scored 6 runs in the second, ended up winning 6-5. The 0-2 pitch to Keenels in the dirt. And a good stop there by Preen, and it's now 1-2. Top of the order, Andrew Coverdale is on deck. Post State has a chance to break this one open with second and third and nobody out here in the bottom of the second. Outfield straight away for Coverdale, or excuse me, for Keenels. The 1-2 is at the letters, and Keenels will take it for strike 3. There's the first out. Then they'll bring in Andrew Coverdale, who is 1 for 1 with a double. Boy, Coverdale got a hold of that first one, and maybe just the mindset that I had from last night was thinking it was just going to be more of a lazy pop fly, but it kept carrying and ended up being a one hop off the wall and a leadoff double in the bottom of the first inning. First pitch is upstairs to Coverdale, and it's now 1-0. Yesterday, that wind was pretty rough, and probably as well as Coverdale hit that ball in the bottom of the first inning, would have been a lazy pop fly with the wind bringing it back in. That one's flown out to the right side and will get out of play. And it's now 1-1 to the second baseman. Runner at second and third. Gaden's at second. Matt Lusk at third. Count is 1-1 to Coverdale. Martin from the stretch. Here is the 1-1. High and outside now 2-0 or 2-1. Garrett Stout, who flew out to the center fielder. He's on deck. 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the second. Martin from the stretch. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one's out to center field. He got a hold of that one as well. Going back to the center fielder, and McCafferty will make the catch. Both men will tag as Lusk will come in to score, and an RBI sac fly for Andrew Coverdale. And it's now a 3-0 lead for Post State. 2 down here in the bottom of the second. And that'll bring in Garrett Stout. Trying to pick up A.J. Gain at third. And they're going to extreme shift for Stout as well. Boy, and the third baseman, Steinwatt, is nowhere near the third base bag. First pitch is taken for strike 1. I mean, Gaden, if he wanted to test it, he could get 3/4 down the line. He could take off right now and really not have a play. It almost probably cause a balk. Stout's trying to bunt the ball. He misses it. Gaden gets away from the catcher. The throw, the plate, and it is not in time. Actually, might have been in time, but Martin was unable to field it cleanly, so Gaden comes in to score. And it's now a 4-0 ball game as Post State has gotten 3 here in the bottom of the second inning. 1-1 is the count to Garrett Stout. And that shift still on for the shortstop. As he can go spray it all over the field too. But they're expecting him to pull the ball the right side. Here's the 1-1. That one's at the letters, so it's now 1-2. Stout maybe didn't like that call, but now he's got to protect. Martin from the stretch. Nobody on base. 2 outs, 1-2 pitch to Garrett Stout. That one misses low, now 2-2 to the Post State shortstop. He's 0 for 1, flew out to center field. McCafferty has been pretty busy out there with the top 2 hitters. Track down the Coverdale's double. As that one's out to the left side, over into left field, as Hoffman will range to his right and he'll make the catch, and that will retire the side here in the bottom of the second inning. 3-run score, 2 hits, 2 errors, no one left on base. It is a 4-0 lead for Post State after 2 innings. Coach Ryan Kruger of the Pierre Governor High School baseball team will join me in the top of the third. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, top of the third inning, as it's going to be for Aberdeen, the top of the order, in Avery Badmoccasin, Jose Melancio, and Aiden McCafferty, the first 3 hitters, as we welcome in Ryan Kruger, the assistant baseball coach for the Pierre Governor High School baseball team. And, Coach, good to talk to you again. We had several conversations throughout the winter and getting into the spring, and even after everything happened with COVID not being able to have a spring baseball season, as the first pitch is fouled back by Badmoccasin. But it's good to have you back in the broadcast booth. You joined me last year. You're the first coach that joined me in the broadcast booth. The 0-1 is grounded to the right side. Coverdale can't field it cleanly. And the leadoff man is aboard, and Avery Moccasin here in the top of the third inning. But good to talk to you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the call, and it's great to be watching baseball again, that's for sure.
As it will be an air charge to Coverdale, and Jose Melancio. That's a
easy for you to say.
Right, exactly. First pitch is taken for strike one. He's got one of the 2 hits so far. He got a base hit on an 0-2 count in the top of the first inning. As Jack Van Camp will deliver the 0-1. That one's in the dirt, 1-1. You've been able to watch a lot of Junior Legion baseball, well, because your son Breck is playing Junior Legion. So talk a little bit about the Junior Legion, how they've been doing so far this year.
They've been playing pretty well. It's a good group of kids, and they've been competing and playing a lot of good games. And they're going through some a few struggles here and there with some errors and some pitching struggles, but they're starting to settle in, and I think they're going to be a really good team.
2-1 the count to Melancio. Here is the 2-1 pitch. That one's off the foot of the shortstop, and it's now 2-2. Yeah, and you guys, the Junior Legion team went out to Rapid last weekend and played a Thursday through Sunday tournament. Lost the first game, and they battled all the way back, had the lead late in that game, ended up losing it. But that was the only game that they lost. Ended up winning 4 in a row and took third place. It's not an easy tournament to go there and get third place.
No, that was a good weekend. They had a good showing, right away. You take the first 2 innings.
As the 2-2 is lined just over the reaching glove of Keenels in the left field, as Melancio is going to have himself a double, and the first 2 men are aboard here in the top of the third inning, and Aberdeen's got something cooking here with 2 men in scoring position. But you can go ahead and continue that thought with the Junior Legion.
Yeah, you take the first 2 innings out of our first game of pool play on that Thursday night. We had a few errors and just a tough 2 innings right away. And other than that, they played excellent baseball the whole rest of the weekend and fought back. And then we ended up being the 3rd seed. The way pool play worked out, everybody was 3-1 going in, but we lost that head-to-head from that 320 game that we did drop. And then came out, took care of business on Sunday morning, and ended up with 3rd. So going 4-1 on a weekend is really good. When you're mixing 5 games over 4 days, it was fun, and weather was good, and it was, like I said, it's just fun watching and being a part of baseball again.
3-0 the count to Aiden McCafferty. Yeah, just the fact that we have all this baseball is great to see, and for all these kids to be able to go play baseball again. 3-0 pitch is right down the middle, and now 3-1 to Aiden McCafferty. He struck out swinging back in the top of the first inning. Coach Ryan Kruger, the Pierre Governor High School baseball team, joining me. I even joked a little bit as a 3-1. It's fouled back to get Dirk Campbell up here, but we said that I'd have to have my hand on the dial to turn his mic down at any time during the interview that he's up here. He said he thinks he can do it. He thinks he can get it done. 3-2 pitch, looked out for strike 3, and Van Camp from 3-0 comes all the way back to get the first down. And McCafferty goes down on strikes for the second time here in the ball game. They'll bring in Matt Fyock, the first baseman, who's also 0-for-1 with the strikeout. Do you think you could do it?
Oh, I know he could. Yeah.
The first pitch, swing and a miss to Matt Fyock. Of course, we'll have to get Steve Gray up here too, and that might maybe getting both those guys here. That way, kind of. Well, I don't know. Dirk by himself might be better than Dirk with anybody else.
Yeah, you might just let him do his thing on his own.
The 0-1 pitch gets to the backstop as it will be. It was a hit by pitch, actually. Fyock was hit by the pitch. So everybody's going to go back to second and third, and the bases are going to be loaded here with one down, with one out in the top of the third. That's a break for, and probably the reason why the ball got to the backstop was because it went off of Fyock. But the bases are now loaded here with one down here in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, if it was just in the dirt, Hinkle wasn't going to let that get by him.
No.
So had to hit something.
Here is Tyler Hoffman as the first baseman will look at strike 1. And I know the grounds crew did a really good job, so there's not any extra dirt that's there to make that go a different way. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one is inside now, 1-1.
I'll go back to Hinkle not going to, let a ball like that get by him in that situation. That, as good as our pitching staff is, high school and base and Legion wise here, a lot of that is a credit to the guy behind the plate, and that's Cade Hinkle, and the way he calls a game, the way he manages these pitchers, the way those guys have, the confidence in him. They can throw any pitch at any time and know that, it's going to get knocked down. And he's just an excellent receiver and has gotten better, throughout his career.
Count is 3-1 here to Tyler Hoffman. Nowhere to put him. Van Camp's going to go right after him here. 3-1 count with one down here in the top of the third. That one is outside, and it's a walk, and that run will come in to score anyway, so it's now a 4-1 ball game here at the top of the third inning with one down.
Well, maybe he didn't hit him. Is that how that works? Is that
maybe? Yeah, the ball doesn't lie. That's the old phrase there. So, but yeah, here Van Camp, and obviously all these guys. Will Van Camp's the only guy on the team outside of a couple other guys that would have had their chance to play for the high school baseball team. But Will Van Camp really the only guy that didn't play high school baseball. But all these guys have been around you and Coach Campbell, Coach Gray, and been playing summer baseball for the last couple of years. As the first pitch is upstairs for ball one. It's got to be a little. It has been tough not to be able to have that this last season in 2020.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, and you can really see that when you look out and you see the talent that's here, and then realize that there's just a pile of seniors, and you're not going to get to do it again. So I mean, it's tough, but at the same time, life goes on, and we start to rebuild. And
ground
nice
ball
play.
Right back to Van Camp, and he makes the smart play by throwing it home. So it's a fielder's choice. The bases will remain loaded, but there's two down, and now a force out can get out of this inning with only one run allowed by Van Camp.
And we're just thankful that they're able to get some games in. Yeah, we were upset that we missed the high school season, but these guys moved on and they got through graduation and got through school, and now they're getting the chance to be able to play before they move on to the next chapter.
As the first pitch to Chuck Olson is upstairs for ball one. And now you're watching the Junior Legion team, and you get to watch a lot of the Senior Legion team here as well, but you're kind of looking at now 2021, and this is your chance over the summer to see who's going to be taking the places of these seniors. That one's over on the right side. Andy Gordon will field. Bobbles it, throw to first, is in time, and Van Camp is able to find the bag to retire the side. What a play there, both by Gordon and Van Camp to get out of the inning. One run scores on just one hit. There was one error and three men left on base. We have played 2.5 innings. 4-1 is our score. Post State over Aberdeen. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. Back here for post-state baseball as we head to the bottom of the third inning, and we might have some not for sure, but we might have some breaking news to pass along at some points, and we'll talk more about that as we get a little bit later. Didn't think we were talking to Coach Ryan Kruger in the intermission, intermission in between innings, but Rob Coverdale sitting down the way from us, and could have been asking him the questions, and he knows a lot of answers.
Absolutely.
We'll talk more about that as it becomes available. But Andy Gordon will lead things off, kind of leave you in the dark a little bit. Make sure you listen to the two full games here. First pitch to Andy Gordon's outside for ball one, as it's he was 0 for 1 with a ground out to the second baseman. I know a lot of people are probably tuning in right now because you're with me, Coach.
Oh yeah.
But after you leave, hopefully they stick around. Hopefully I got them to stick around now. The 1-0 is fouled down to the third base dugout, now 1-1. But again, as the Coach Ryan Kruger here in the press box with us on this Wednesday evening, a chance for that 2020 season. I mean, we got done with 2019 last spring, as it's now 1-2 to Gordon. You know, sour taste in the mouth of the coaches, of the players, losing 1-0 in 9 innings and didn't get a chance to get to the state semifinals. And that really fueled the offseason for you guys. And you know, it's helped already so far this summer as Andy Gordon gets a base hit to lead things off in the bottom of the third inning. And I've kind of talked about how well this team has been hitting so far. That was the main focus of the winter, was getting these guys at some swings, a lot of swings off the tee and the cage. And you're a big part of it, not only because you're part of the coaching staff, but your garage was used for a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah, we're fortunate that we were kind of set up to have some of that, and the guys really bought into, you know, seeing what we were lacking as a team, and that was just putting runs on the board, and what that comes down to is putting in the time, buying into the systems that we were doing with Steve and Dirk, and you know, just getting in and getting hacks. I mean, you look in the years past when we had guys that, you know, were just hitting and maybe struggled fielding the ball a little bit, but when you put up 8-10 runs a game, you know, you're in them. And now with the way our pitching staff was set up, we knew that, you know, hey, if we can scratch out 3-4 runs, we might not lose. So we just need to put the ball in play and we need to hit. And the guys really took on to that.
As the man is picked off, Gordon is picked off, and Coach White, I believe he was a little thinking that maybe Brock Martin had that foot going more towards home, was not going to put up too much of an argument, but Andy Gordon's picked off at going to second base as he was going to be off with the pitch. And so there's now one down here in the bottom of the third inning. That was really close. Martin would look like he was starting to go home, but I guess that right foot was going just far enough to first base that neither umpire wanted to make that call. So there's now one down. Bases are empty for Gray Zabel. They got the full shift on for Zabel again. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one is inside 2-0. And, Coach, you know this firsthand. He's a big boy, but he can use all parts of the field and has been all summer.
Yeah, you know, the only way this works is if he pounds him inside the whole time, because Gray can hit to all fields. If he lets one out, you know, outer half of the plate, this is going down the line, and might still only be a double, but it'll be a double.
Well, hey, you got an infield single back in the bottom of the first inning. He's 1 for 1 so far because he hit the ball right in between the second baseman and shortstop on the right side of second base, and he was able to get an infield single. I didn't realize how fast some of these guys were. They've kind of, I don't know, maybe if over the pandemic that they were able to work on a lot of speed as Zabel draws a 4-pitch walk. If maybe the governor strength and conditioning has made them a lot faster, but they seem to have a little bit lighter feet right now.
You know, some of them they surprise you with that little bit of that speed, but yeah, there's no doubt that the governor strength and speed, you know, in their conditioning programs, those guys at the high school, they just do an outstanding job of getting these athletes into shape and you know, making them the best they can be, you know. But those kind of goes back to that same thing, you know, we want to be better hitters, so we need to hit, you know. And these guys realize that, hey, I want to be a better athlete. I need to show up, and not just show up, but I gotta work my tail off and to get better and to make all of our programs better. And you know, the community and the high school, these guys should be proud and thankful for those coaches that put in so much time with these kids. And you know, I know we are. at the high school side on the baseball side, because these kids they put in the time and put in the work, and those guys just set up awesome programs for them, and it's working. I mean, look at our programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Kate Hinkle pops this one into shallow left field, and the left fielder Hoffman takes charge from Steinwand and makes the catch, and there's now 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Zabel's on at first. River Iverson, who reached base on a bunt single, and end up getting to third base on the throwing error by the third baseman Steinwand. Iverson's been the guy that's got the most infield singles, and it started all the way back last summer. He just started getting infield singles, and I don't know. I keep saying that I was kind of laughing that he was getting these infield singles, and he was eating it up. That I was talking about how fast he was as another pickoff attempt and back safely as Zabel. And I think he just wants to do it now just to keep getting told how fast he is on the radio.
Yeah. Well, it feels good to be told that you're good at something.
Right.
Yeah. No, River, he's really developed he's a great drag bunter. He handles the bat well. And, I think he realized here a year or so ago, and even towards the end of the high school season, that, you get into some of these pitchers that, maybe throw a little harder than what you're, able to catch up to. You can at least help your team out by laying down a good bunt and using those wheels. And he does. He gets out of the box quick, lays that bunt down, and, you get somebody playing back a little bit more on that third base side, and a guy that maybe falls off to the edge a little bit. Here's a case right here too.
There's a ground ball to the third baseman. Steinwald's throw is going to be not in time, as he's going to get to first base. I believe maybe the first baseman Fox didn't keep his hand or keep his foot on the bag. I don't even know if he fielded it cleanly. And we'll see if we give him a hit or an error, and see what that official scoring is. So they're going to get a error on the third baseman Steinwand. So it's now first and second here with 2 down, as Matt Lusk will step to the plate.
I'd agree with that's an error on the third baseman, but what caused that was that speed, and it's a ball that's maybe not hit the crispest, but it gives him a little bit more time to get down the line, and it makes that third baseman rush that throw. He short hops his first baseman, and with that speed. So yeah, put the ball in play, make things happen.
0-1 count to Matt Lusk as Martin becomes set. Here is the 0-1 pitch to the center fielder. That one's upstairs, now 1-1. Matt Lusk has got 2 saves so far this season. For you guys in 2019, he was the guy that was the closer for you and did he couldn't do a better job because his ERA was 0 at the end of the year. There literally was no way that Lusk could have been any better other than not allowing anybody to get on base. But that's kind of got into this role, and it seems like he might be that role here in the summer for post 8 as well.
He's just got a great closer mentality. He knows he's going in with a lead, and he just gets up there and says, "I'm better than you. Here it comes, and good luck." And that's what you need in your closer, is just somebody with that confidence. And after last year, he stepped into that role. I wouldn't even say it was on any doing of anybody's part, on the coaching staff, besides knowing that he could throw strikes, but put him in a couple of situations like that, and all of a sudden it's like, man, this kid's got it, and he's ready, and he just took it and ran, and he was just untouchable.
2-2 is the count to Lusk. First and second here with 2 down in the bottom of the third inning. Look for that first run here in the bottom of the third. And Matt Lusk will call time as we'll reset everybody. Coach Ryan Kruger, the Pierre Governor High School baseball team, joining us here in the press box. He'll join us for a couple of innings here in game number 1. A little less windy here for game number 1.
Yeah, this is a lot nicer.
So it's hot outside. Well, it's nice and cool here in the press box. 2-2 pitch. That one misses low and outside. Now 3-2, and Zabel and Iverson will both get a head start with a full count and 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Have action in the left field bullpen. Too far away for my terrible eyes to try and see what number that is that's out there warming up, but there's a right-hander warming up for the Aberdeen Smittys. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Lusk will fight that pitch off as that was on the outside corner, able to just get a piece of it and ground it down the first base line, and we'll do it again at 3-2. I don't know if you shook you nodded your head in agreement, whether you agree that I have terrible eyes or that it's just that far you can't see it.
That was all I was going to say, too. He's right-handed. That's all I can tell you, too. So I think he's got white shoes on. Other than that, I'm done.
Well, see, okay, I can see that, too. That's about it, yeah. But we'll have a mound visit here with 3-2 count and 2 outs in the bottom of the third inning. as we will pass some breaking news along here in the top of the fourth inning. And want to make sure I get the name right before we pass it along. So we'll have that for you at the top of the fourth, as Matt Lusk is at a 3-2 count with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Zabel leads away from second. Iverson on at first. A.J. Gaines on deck. Martin will come set. Here's a 3-2. Grounded foul. We'll do it again.
Doing a nice job of just staying alive, spoiling pitches. That's just a good at bat right here. River and Gray are getting a few extra wind sprints in. They're getting an early start, being full count, 2 outs, and it's good for those guys. They're getting their work in too.
I would say Gray's going to have a lot of work in front of him when he goes play for North Dakota State in football. So getting that early workout in. Here's a 3-2 one more time to Matt Lusk, and that one is upstairs for ball 4. And the bases are loaded, and that'll bring in A.J. Gaden, who got a base hit, an RBI single back in the second inning, and he reached second on the throwing error from the second baseman.
Here was another kid that last year, was injured and ended up having some surgery and really worked hard all winter. And man, he was swinging the bat well during our hitting leagues, and anxious to watch him play this year.
First pitch to Gaden. That one goes off the catcher. It hits A.J. Gaden, so it will drive in the run. And there's now a 5-1 lead here for Post State here in the bottom of the third inning. And there's somewhat of a tough way. It seemed like it really kind of almost nicked him, so somewhat of an easy, tough way to get an RBI. And that'll bring in the number 9 hitter, Lincoln Keenels, the third baseman. He struck out swinging back in the bottom of the second. He is the 7th man to come to the plate. Bases loaded with 2 outs. First pitch is low for ball 1. And you have a somewhat of a vested interest in Lincoln Keenels being your nephew. So he's coming around. The first couple of games, you could tell that he was probably a little bit nervous playing up in the senior legion ranks. But just like in basketball, and really that confidence is growing game by game for Keenels, as that one's a swing and a miss, now 1-1. And hey, when he's shown he's a very good basketball player on the varsity level. He's shown he can be a very good baseball player at the senior legion, and that's what it takes to continue to grow confidence game in and game out.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he's gonna, kind of settle in, and he's learning, from every at bat that the level that he's playing at. Stepping into 15 to 20 miles higher than what you saw last year at the 14U level. And then you jump out and you face 22 Mitchell and Renner,
and guys are going to go play D1 next year.
Exactly, and you got 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams in the state. So don't beat yourself up too much, because guys get paid a lot of money to fail 75% of the time at this game. So he's going to be fine. It was awesome to see him get his first hit last night. And then he tagged another one, later in that second game.
Yep.
And the wind kind of held up. Center fielder made an error, but just to have him, squaring balls up is good, and he's gonna be fine.
2-2 is the counts. The second and third as the pass ball got another run in, and that one's fouled back, and it remains at 2-2. Score is now 6-1. Post State over the Aberdeen Smittys as we play here in the bottom of the third. Well, talking about 70, guys get paid to fail 75% of the time. We'll share a stat, and we'll talk about it more, because we love Major League Baseball too. As that one's fouled back, but we'll throw a Major League Baseball stat out there, and it's going to be one that just kind of blows your mind. For you once we talk about it, most people, if I say, yeah, that sounds about right, but it's going to be one that you probably will never see again, as Brock Martin, the 2-2 pitch again to Lincoln Keenels. Upstairs now 3-2. Andrew Coverdale is on deck. He is 1 for 1 with an RBI double. Actually, he has an RBI and a double, as he got a sac fly RBI back in the bottom of the second. Lusk is at third. Gaines at second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Keenels.
That a boy.
Up the middle for a base hit. That one's going to get down, and one run will score. Gain's going to round 30. He's going to score without a throw. And it's a 2-out, 2 RBI single for Lincoln Keenels. And he picked that one right back up the middle. And as Coach Kruger said, that a boy, that's exactly right. That's a big hit for that for the freshman. Also will help the confidence going into this season.
Yep, that was a good at bat. Fouled off a couple pitches that were tough, maybe out of the zone, but still staying alive for that, not giving the umpire a chance to ring him up. So anything close, he was fighting off, and then just, widened out a little bit there with 2 strikes and drove that one right up the middle. That's a big hit.
We'll have a pitching change as we will step aside for a minute, come back and tell you what those changes are. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Austin Wagman's into the game to pitch for the Aberdeen Smittys as we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium in the bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the third. It's an 8-1 lead. 4 runs have scored here for Post State. We do have some breaking news to pass along as make sure you get the last name right as Kirk Bebout is going to be the new basketball coach for the girls basketball team for Pierre Governors this coming fall. So Kirk Bebout coming out of was the Hamlin Chargers coach last 7 years, as he's will be the new girls basketball coach for Pierre Governor basketball. So it's going to be good to have him to join, and we'll hopefully be able to bring him into the press box before he even coaches his first game for the Pierre Governor girls basketball team. It'll be fun to have a nice conversation with him, as just got the word a couple of minutes ago, just about 10 minutes ago. First pitch, Keenels will take off for second. The throw, he dives in head first safely. First pitch was taken for ball 1 to Andrew Coverdale. Also want to remind you that you're listening to KCCR Pierre Riverfront Broadcasting Station as we pass the 6 o'clock hour here on this Wednesday evening. Coach Ryan Kruger joining me here in the press box. And now I'll ask you, did you actually know who the coach was going to be?
No,
he did not. We were kind of talking about it in the commercial break, and then Rob Coverdale, who's down doing the PA for this game, after we were talking about it, gets done. He goes, you might want to check the email later tonight. And sure enough, about 5 minutes later, get the email that new head coach for the Pierre Governor girls basketball team. Lincoln Keenels will steal third. Took it all on Wagman, as Wagman was nowhere close to really paying attention to Keenels, as he's stolen second and third. As now Coverdale with a base hit would easily bring in Keenels. Probably would have brought him in anyway from second. 2-1 is the count. From the stretch. Here's the pitch. Fly ball out towards left center field. Going over as a center fielder, and McCafferty will make the catch to retire the side here in the bottom of the third. 4 runs score on 2 hits in the inning. It's another air charge to Aberdeen, and 1 man left on base. We have played 3 complete. That's an 8-1 lead here for the Post-State over the Aberdeen Smittys. Coach Ryan Kruger will continue to join us here in the press box. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Back here for the top of the fourth inning. 8-1 is our score. Jack Van Camp out for his fourth inning of work. He will be facing 8-9-1. Hunter Riggenberg, the DH, Max Preen, and Avery Badmock in the right fielder. The first three hitters for the Aberdeen Smittys. First pitch, swing and a miss. 0-1 to Riggenberg. He got hit by a pitch in his only plate appearance so far. Coach Ryan Kruger, the Pierre Governor High School baseball team, joining us here in the press box. The 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled back, and it's now 0-2. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any text messages from anybody. And two people in particular trying to throw us off our game.
Well, I know they're both listening because I know I talked to Steve earlier today, and I know he was around. He was doing some mowing, so I think I'm pretty certain he's listening right now, and Dirk is too. So,
Dirk the other day we were talking about the first game, and then all of a sudden he said he got tired of listening to me, so he showed up to the game. Well, you could have brought the headphones with you. You could still listen to me, but the 0-2 swing and a miss, and there's a strikeout for Jack Van Camp to open up the top of the fourth inning. That is his fifth strikeout of the ball game. That'll bring in Max Preen, the catcher.
Van Camp is really tough against lefties. I mean, he's a little bit, got a lot of movement going on with his leg kick, and he's got some weird arm angles, and he's fun to watch.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. There's a line shot. There's a base hit for the number 9 hitter, Max Preen. Gets into right center field. Matt Lusk will cut it off, and it's a single for the catcher, Max Preen, and that'll bring in a Bad Moccasin, who is 0 for 2 so far. He reached on an air back in the top of the third to lead off the top of the third inning. And for Jack Van Camp, Coach Nas told me before the game he wanted the ball. He was wanting to pitch. He's ready to pitch and wants to get that confidence going. And really, I mean, he hasn't been bad from the mound, but for his standards, he wants to get that confidence and to be better than what he has been, which also shows you the kind of athlete that he is. Not satisfied with just a win or a decent outing. He wants a very good outing.
Yeah, no doubt. He's always the type of guy that wants to stay out there and he wants to get out there. He's ready for his next outing and his next at bat, because when he's not on the bump, he's in the field and hitting, and he's a great competitor and an outstanding teammate.
2-0 pitch, swing and a miss to Avery Badmoccasin, and it's now 2-1. He grounded out to Van Camp to start the ball game, and he reached on an air in the top of the third to lead off the top of the third inning. Bats here with one out in the top of the fourth. That one's a pitch in the dirt, and Hinkle will block that one up. That's a tough block and a good block there from Cade Hinkle, and it's now 3-1. And at least keeps that double play in order and keeps that man at first base and give Van Camp a chance to get a ground ball. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That one misses inside, and it's going to be a one-out walk. And for Post States, the walks have been – that's the one thing for these pitchers. It's just been a little bit too much. There's too many walks so far as we play here in the ninth game of the season.
Yeah, that's no doubt. You look at here we are in the top of the fourth. You're up 8-1. Man, go out and pump it down the middle and make these guys beat you, because just get outs. And it's hot outside. Your defense is working hard, out there in the sun, and they're coming in and doing it for you at the plate. Just come out, throw strikes, make the guys put it in play. You don't have to get too fancy and strike everybody out, Make them put the ball in play, because, a team like Aberdeen, especially, they've had some struggles early on. Make them come out and beat you with the bat, because, a leadoff, hit, or he struck out a guy and then a hit and now a walk, that hit doesn't really bother you. But now here, if you walk another guy, now you're in a little bit more trouble.
Malesio swings at a pitch in the dirt. He goes down in 3 strikes, and there's now 2 down. And that's the second strikeout of the inning by Van Camp in his 5th of the ball game. As it's now 2 down, and that'll bring in Austin McCafferty. He's been a strikeout victim twice. That time it's not going to be, as that's flown out towards right center field, but Lusk will glide over to make the catch on the run, and that will retire the side here in the top of the fourth. No runs and 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. 3.5 is complete, and Post State has an 8-1 lead over the Aberdeen Smittys. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Back here in the bottom of the fourth inning, it is a 8-1 lead here for the Post States, as it will be 2, 3, and 4. Garrett Stout will lead things off, followed by Andy Gordon, Gray Zabel. Stout, the only man that didn't bat in the third inning, as they had 8 guys come to the plate, scored 4 runs with those 8 men at the plate, and as Wagman on for his second inning of work. So I failed to mention the stat that I was going to talk about as Coach Ryan Kruger joins us in the press box. 6 years ago today, it was Tony Gwynn unfortunately passed away, but the Hall of Fame career that he had, he faced a Hall of Fame pitcher, and you know him very well, Greg Maddux. Well, maybe not personally, but just the fact that he was a Cubs pitcher. He faced Greg Maddux 107 times, and guess what his batting average was against Greg Maddux?
I have no idea.
Had
to have been 360.
415.
Oh, man.
And never struck out a single time that he faced Greg Maddux in the 107 at-bats against Maddux.
Never struck out.
Never struck out. And Greg Maddux, and for maybe some of the younger kids that aren't listening, or if you don't pay attention to a whole lot of baseball, he was a mastermind of working around the plate, through the plate. You couldn't figure out anything that he was ever going to throw because he was such a wizard throwing the baseball. So for him never to strike out against Greg Maddux, just really, and having a 415 batting average against him, Maddux probably absolutely hated his guts while they were playing the game of baseball, but shows how good of a hitter Tony Gwynn was, and something that you'll never see. You never see a Hall of Fame hitter hit 415 against a Hall of Fame pitcher ever again.
Think
probably.
So. The only thing, that the biggest thing that probably got him is that you knew that Maddux was going to be around the plate the whole time, and as good of a hitter as he is, it took advantage of strikes and being ready to hit. And yeah, that's pretty awesome.
2-0 is the count to Garrett Stout, and watching a couple of videos of, back in the day after Gwynn had retired, of him talking about hitting and whether he was showing anything or just talking to you or just talking the video about it. Boy, you learned a lot from him just speaking about hitting, as he was, every pitcher probably had to have hated actually going against him. Whenever he came to the play, they'd probably rather just walk him because he knew he was going to get on base anyway.
Yeah.
3-1 the count to Garrett Stout here to lead off the bottom of the fourth. As Wagman works from the windup, here is the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Now 3-2. The leadoff hitter, Garrett Stout.
And here's a situation too where you're up 8-1, and like I was saying on the top side where we're pitching, get in there and just throw strikes. And now you get back on offense, and here's something that I think we need to get better at too is getting in here and now putting teams away. Don't take an inning off. Keep your foot on the throttle and put teams away. Come up, have some good at bats, and put some more runs on the board.
Garrett Stout swings and misses, and he's down for the first out.
I should have said that before he swung at that last pitch. He might have done something different.
Right. Here comes Aberdeen. He will hit for Andy Gordon here with down in the bottom of the fourth inning. Don't worry, you even texted me on Sunday that said I was lucky at that Post State got the win after having that 6-5 lead in the top of the seventh and end up going down at a 5-4 lead, went down 6-5 and ended up winning 7-6. Got a quick text saying that how lucky I was that Post State ended up getting that win.
Yeah, we were on our way back home and were able to catch you on the radio and as soon as you said that and I heard I could imagine the guys up in the press box giving you the hard look and knowing that one it came out on the right side, but that's kind of tough.
Dean takes a pitch high, now 2-1. Dean had an excellent game from the mound on Sunday as he came in and faced a runner team. That's a good ball club that he came in after Rasky went down after one inning. The 2-1 misses low, 3-1. And for you guys going into 2021, losing a lot of pitchers from this senior squad, that's going to kind of raise the eyebrows a little bit and give him a look when it comes to the high school baseball season.
Absolutely. I know that
one's ripped down the line and it's going to get fouled, so it's 3-2.
That was a good swing. That was just an excellent show of his talents on what he could do. Obviously he wouldn't have been prepped or warned that, hey, you're going to come in the second or third inning. He might have been knowing that he was the next guy in, but thinking Rasky might go 4 or 5 or 6, hopefully. For him to jump in that situation right away and then pitch as well as he did, man, that shows a lot of confidence and growing up and he's one of our upcoming leaders that's taken over.
Dean takes the walk with the one down here in the bottom of the fourth inning, and that'll bring in Gray Zabel. And speaking of McGuire Rasky, talked with Coach White here before the game and asked him if they had the results from the MRI, and said yes. And unfortunate for Rasky, he's going to have surgery if he wants to pitch again, and most likely Tommy John surgery. So that's a big blow to for Post State here this summer, but just in general for McGuire Rasky. The first pitch is a swing and a miss to Gray Zabel, because then you kind of put yourself in, okay, what do I want to do? And because you got to, if you want to get that surgery and want to pitch again, you're going to have to get it right away. If you want to play football, then you have to hold off, but that means baseball season's done, and most likely wrestling season's going to be done. And that it's really a bad spot no matter what. But right now, just, it really stinks for McGuire Rasky. Yeah, it does. That's,
He's in a tough spot, and, multi-sport athlete for our programs. And, he's just going to have to, sit down and weigh through his options on what he wants to do, and, and then move forward and move on. So yeah, it's a tough situation, but we, everybody's got his back, and we're going to help him through anything he can, that he's going to be facing, and he'll make the right decision, and everything will be all right.
1-2 is the count to Gray Zabel. Runner on first, that is Bennett Dean after the one-out walk. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and now it's 2-2. Still a little bit of a shift, and still have a pretty good-sized shift for Gray Zabel. Malencio is behind second base, so he could get that throw down in case Dean would take off for second. But here comes the 2-2 pitch. That one's flown out towards center field. The left fielder's going to come in. That's going to drop for a base hit. And a one-out single for Gray Zabel. That was a routine pop fly to the center fielder if he's played a normal spot, but instead the left fielder had to come over and Hoffman, and he had a better chance of making that play, but it dropped in for a base hit.
Yeah, the shift kind of worked out for him there, because that's a line drive in the book.
Yep, that's going to say, couldn't tomorrow morning when he wakes up and looks at the box score, says, hey, that bottom of the fourth inning, I smoked that ball.
Yeah.
Can't prove anything different. I guess he could if you go back on the video.
YouTube,
yeah. We just won't mention that one to Gray. First pitch is outside for ball one to Cade Hinkle. He's 0 for 2. He struck out back in the first inning. He was the fly-out victim to the left fielder back in the bottom of the third. One down, runner at first and second here for Cade Hinkle. Here's the 1-0 pitch to the catcher. Swing and a foul tipped off the mitt of the catcher, Preen, and is now 1-1.
Been really happy with seeing Cade swing the bat the way he has early on this year. He's doing a nice job being aggressive, and he's putting some, making some good solid contact.
And a guy that, he's going to go play college baseball. And I know that the 3 high school baseball coaches and the 2 Post State coaches are very happy about that, because he's worked pretty hard behind the plate for the last several years for Pierre and for Post State.
He has. He's been outstanding, and he stepped in and as a sophomore and ended up catching a lot of games. We put some pressure on him there at the high school level that first year when I came on, hoping that he was going to step in and be able to catch, maybe every other game. And he worked hard in the winter and got in shape and just kept working hard and improving, and ended up, he caught a big majority of those games. And I don't think he's missed a game since.
A ground ball to the first baseman, taking the bag himself for the second out was Hinkle. Now Elliott Life will get his first chance to hit here, as he will pinch hit for River Iverson. First pitch almost hits Life. As scoot out of the way. He's going to be a guy for you guys next year too, and going into his senior year. A guy like left-hander that adds to all those left-handers that you guys usually have every single year. It's the pitching rotation is now 1-1 to Elliott Life. The pitching rotation for Pierre is one that doesn't come around very often, with the amount of left-handers that you have that throws the ball well too.
Yeah, we're hoping he can get some more outings and, get a bunch of innings in this year and get his confidence up and be ready to, to be a huge part of our staff next spring.
Ground ball back to the pitcher, Wagman. He'll throw to first in time, and that will retire the side here in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll keep you around one more inning, Coach. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We head to the top of the fifth inning. It is an 8-1 lead for Post State. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we head to the top of the fifth inning, Jack Van Camp on for his fifth inning of work. As staying out in left field is Elliott Life. And Bennett Dean will also stay at first base for the post-state team. That first pitch is flown out towards left field, and that one will get out of play. As Matt Fyock is up to the plate. He's 0 for 1. He got hit by a pitch in the third inning. He struck out back in the first. Here's the 0-1 outside, now 1-1. Coach Sean Lewis says wrestlers make the best catchers.
They do. He's not off there for sure.
The 1-1 pitch. That one's grounded foul, now 1-2. We'll get out of play as it's grounded through the hole over on the left side. Yeah, because you go back to after Cade Hinkle, and that was before my time getting here, but I believe Spencer Saringer was the catcher, and he was an excellent wrestler for Pierre as well. 1-2 is outside, now 2-2.
Yeah, those guys they move well. They have no fear,
Right.
and they're very intelligent. Both Cade and Spence. There's a good play by him right there.
2-2 pitch was a check swing that Fyock, I believe, might have bounced foul at first and ended up in fair territory, and Hinkle was able to pick it up and throw it to first in time to get the leadoff man. That was one of those 2-2 protection swings that you thought you were going to foul the ball off, and maybe it took that first top and it was going to be fouled and ended up landing in fair territory. First pitch is inside to Tyler Hoffman, who was 1 for 1, single, and then he also walked back in the top of the third.
Yeah, those wrestlers, like I was saying, they have good body control, good movement when they're down low, can move side to side very well. Little bumps and bruises don't bother them. We got two really good little catchers coming up. I shouldn't say little. They're freshmen and eighth graders, and Deegan Huska is going to be a sophomore. He's catching at the junior legion level right now. He's on the high school team, and then you got Trey Lewis, who's another very good catcher. These guys coming up, and it's exciting to see those guys coming up. What they're going to be able to do, and when they watch a guy like Spencer Saringer and Cade Hinkle, what we expect out of them as a pure catcher.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and there's another strikeout for Jack Van Camp, and there's now 2 down here in the top of the fifth inning. Josh Steinwand will step to the plate. He's 0 for 2 with 2 fielder's choices. He's been on base twice, but he's grounded to a fielder's choice in each time. And Deegan Huska, Trey Lewis, also wrestlers. So
that's right.
And Coach Lewis, he's right about it. He all the way down. He's got himself a good probably 10-year span where he's going to be right about catchers. Wrestlers make the best catchers.
Yep.
The 0-1 pitch, that one's taken for a strike too. Van Camp's kind of working a little bit quicker here. He's finding a rhythm. As quickly the 0-2 pitch will come from Van Camp. That one just misses inside, now 1-2. Gray Zabel and really Zabel more so than anybody else. Stout's somewhat that way too. And Van Camp works really, really fast as well. But Zabel, I've never seen anybody work faster than him on the mound, but he throws strikes all the time. As Van Camp will backhand he could have tagged the man out, but he decided to take it a little bit tougher and end up backhanding it over to first to Bennett Dean. That will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We head to the bottom of the fifth inning. Aberdeen was held scoreless. They trail Post 8-1. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here at the bottom of the fifth inning, it is an 8-1 lead as Post State looking to add to that 7-run lead that they have right now. We'll have, I believe, Colin Bruggeman that will hit first for Matt Lusk here at the bottom of the fifth inning, and then A.J. Gaden. And right now, Lincoln Keenels is the man in the hole, as he'll be the third hitter, but he has not at least emerged from the dugout quite yet. But Colin Bruggeman, he will get his first at-bat here in the ball game. He came in to hit last night as well in game number 2, as he ended up getting hit by a pitch. So he's trying to find a little bit more fun at-bat. Doesn't have to get hit by a pitch on this one to get on base. Maybe try and get a base hit instead. Make it a little bit easier on the body to get a base hit. But he's used to that. He's a fullback for the Pierre Governor football team, and had Coach Steve Steele yesterday. And for you guys, obviously, being a baseball coach, you're going to see these guys, the baseball team, but the fact that they play other sports, and for you guys as well, you love to see them play other sports and not just baseball. You're not going to say, don't only play baseball, but if you want to play other sports, go ahead and play as many as you want. And even guys like Kobe Carr, as that one is now 0-2 to Colin Bruggeman, he's a guy on the track team and plays baseball in the spring while running track as well, or being on the track team, as that one's fouled back now 0-2. And you guys, Coach Gray, he talked about it. Once there's a lot of track guys, he works the schedule around the track season.
Yeah, you bet. And we're going to see more of that, next year for sure. A lot of the younger guys that'll be hopefully trying out and making that high school team are also track athletes. So, Steve's got a little bit more work ahead of him as far as adjusting our schedule so that those track athletes can go out for track and contribute to that team as well. And we encourage that. We want multi-sport athletes. We want guys to go out for other things, and it just makes them better all-around players in every sport if they can, be a little more diversified and go out and compete.
Bruggeman swings and misses at the pitch, the 1-2 pitch, and he goes down on strikes. And there's one down here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Lincoln Keenels will be the man on deck as A.J. Gaden steps to the plate. He is 1 for 1 so far. He got hit by the pitch that drove in a run. He's got 2 runs driven in so far in his 2 plate appearances as he swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. I've been working a little bit quicker as well. That one's grounded to the left side. Charging in is Melancio. The throw to first is not in time, and A.J. Gaden picks it up, puts it down the line, and he's got an infield single. There's 1 on and 1 out. His second hit of the ball game.
That was a good hustle. He got out of the box quickly, knowing that it's going to have to get that out. So that was a good hustle.
And that'll bring in Lincoln Keenels. Keenels is 1 for 2. That 2 RBI, 2 out single. Back in the third inning. That made it an 8-1 lead.
Yeah, that's Justin.
As Justin Hulett will be the man on deck and to hit for Andrew Coverdale. As Coach White looks like he's emptying the bench here in at least game number 1 against the Aberdeen Smittys. Looking for win number 5 in a row. Started out 1-3 after a doubleheader sweep from Rapid City Post 22 on that Friday. Has come back and won 4 straight games, including beating Post 22. There's a base hit down the third base line. That one will be a sliding stop from the left fielder, Hoffman. And it's going to be a double for Lincoln Keenels. He's now 2 for 3. And the confidence continues to grow for the young man as he's got his 3rd hit in the last 2 games. And that's, again, what you love to see from a young man like Keenels, who, especially here in 2 years, he'll be one of the few guys that'll be left. He'll be the only guy that's not a super senior on this Senior Legion team. So he's the future of this program and is putting his stamp on the Senior Legion team right now.
Yeah, that's awesome to see right there. 2-0, he had a couple balls that were close that he watched, and then 2-0, and a kid that's getting some confidence and knowing that he's going to jump on a pitch that's a strike. It's pretty easy, as a younger kid maybe watch that pitch and maybe be leaning more towards looking for a walk and just getting on base, but to see him attack that 2-0 fastball, that's good to see, and we're going to see a lot of that, I think, in the next few years.
So Justin Hulet's got a 2-0 count. Swings and misses at the 2-0 pitch. Just a bit out in front of that one, now 2-1. We saw Justin pitch last week Friday, in Rapid City Post 22. Just that was one of those games where those two games, nothing went right for Post 8. The 2-1 pitch is upstairs now 3-1. Had 20 hits in the ball game, in the two ball games, and only scored 6 runs. And Post 22 20 hits in those two ball games, and they scored 24. That doesn't add up in nearly any game of baseball. As the 3-1 is a swing and a miss, now 3-2, and that's one that. But that is the game of baseball where you look like everything's even, but one team really outscores. They took advantage of the walks and the errors that Post 8 had in those two games. 3-2 pitch. That one's grounded to the third baseman, fielded by Steinwatt as he was backing up. The throw was in the dirt and scooped out by Fyock. But a run does score on the RBI, ground out by Justin Hulett. And it's now a 9-1 lead for Post 8 as Keenels is over at third.
It's good base running by Gaden there to going on contact and pressing the issue a little bit, even though you're up 9 or 8-1. He was ready to run and taking advantage of the situation. So good base running. Lincoln moved up on the throw, so that's good stuff.
The first pitch to Garrett Stout is taken low for ball one. 9-1 is our score here in the bottom of the fifth. How about a walk-off home run here to end the ball game? So, Garrett Stout was looking for it. He does a big swing from Stout. He misses, and it's 1-1. Trying to prove me right in the next 2 seconds.
He doesn't get cheated much when he swings, so.
Count is 1-1 to Stout. Keenels leans away from third, and it's now 2-1. With a third baseman and Steinwatt with that shift, I mean, Keenels could be halfway down the line. He could be where the dirt kind of juts back towards the infield or back towards fair territory, and there's no chance of picking him off because the third baseman is nowhere close to the bag. It's now 2-2 to Garrett Stout, and something that you don't see a whole. And Keenels isn't going to steal home because you're up by 8 runs right now, but the fact that he's that far off the bag and with a runner on third, not holding him anywhere close is a little bit odd to see. Here's a 2-2.
There
Stout,
it is.
that one's going to get up. Is it going to get out of here? Is it going to stay fair? It does, and it's gone. A walk-off home run for Garrett Stout here in the bottom of the fifth inning. A 2-run home run for Garrett Stout, and the ball game will come to an end 11-1. And I called it.
Nice call. Jeez,
There we
no
go.
wonder you get paid so much for this.
I don't know about that one, but Garrett Stout walks it off, and it's an 11-1 win for Post 8 here in game number 1. We'll step aside for 2 minutes. We'll come back. Coach Kruger is going to join us here in the post-game show. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. We welcome you in the post-game show of game number one. Also, try to get you set for game number two as we welcome in Coach Ryan Kruger. Actually, not welcome in. He's been here for quite a while. Came in the top of the third inning. 11-1 is the final score as Post State wins by the 10-run rule in 5 innings. Garrett Stout hits a walk-off 2-run home run to win it in those 5 innings. Coach, you got to be excited how that played out for Post State and how well they played in this first game.
Yeah, that's outstanding to see. Anytime you can put up 11 runs, that's you're putting yourself in a good position to be successful. So, yeah, come out and swing it. And, that's something right there. They just had a quick little meeting out there. I'm sure Coach White just said, hey, get something to drink, get ready to go, and let's go take care of business in game 2 because that's one thing after going through with a game like that. You want to come out and you don't want to, maybe sit back and take a couple innings off. You want to come out and just put it right to them right away in the top of the first and then get in and get back to hitting.
As we go through the box score here for both Post State and the Aberdeen Smittys. For Aberdeen, they had one run on 4 hits and 3 errors in the ball game. They had a hit in each of the first 4 innings, and then Jack Van Camp had a 1-2-3 fifth inning as he goes the distance for the win, giving up just that one run in the top of the third. For Post State, 11 runs, 11 hits, 1 error, and they left 4 men on base. And, boy, that's complete different. This team continues to – those hit totals stay the same, but those left on base continue to go down, and that's what you like to see as those runs keep going up as well.
You bet. Good aggressive base running. We're seeing guys, taking bases and with balls in the dirt. Maybe not so much this last game in Aberdeen, but I know I saw it and listened to it when we were coming back from Sioux Falls yesterday. You hear guys of getting good secondary leads and taking bases when balls are in the dirt, and just like in that last inning where I said AJ had good aggressive base running and being ready on the base paths when when it comes time when they go through those situations in practice, and when you see them, when you see your players just react in game time, that's what you're hoping for, because you don't have time to sit out there and say, hey, okay, now if a ball's hit to the middle, we want you going. That's the stuff that you're drilling into them during practices and in the winters and things like that. So to see them come out and perform the way that you're coaching them and that they're getting told, that's what you want to see. And this team has a lot of potential to be one of the top teams in the state. And that's what we expect out of these guys. So to see them come out, throw up 11 on this first game, that's good to see. I'm anxious for this next game.
A 5-game winning streak now here for Post State, as they will play the second game here in just a little under half an hour as we'll get started. Just probably about past that 7 o'clock hour here for the Pierre, Post State, and Aberdeen Smittys. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks for joining me here for the first game. A lot of fun, and I'm glad that you could hear me make the predict what was going to happen to end the ball game.
Yeah, that was a good call. I'm impressed. So I'm anxious to see what you come up with this next game.
Well, I made up with that after talking about almost jinxing that win on Sunday. So I've kind of evened myself out now, and I probably shouldn't press my luck too much more.
Well, I don't know. That's a pretty good time to call it with Stout up, and that he was looking for it on a couple of his earlier swings in that at bat. You knew that he wasn't going to get cheated on that.
That's right. 11-1 is the final score here in game number 1. Thanks to Coach Ryan Kruger, the Pierre Governor High School baseball team. We'll step aside for 2 minutes, and Coach Nathan Nas will join us after this commercial break. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the post-game show and also get you set for game number 2, Coach Nathan Nas of the Pierre Post State, he joins us up here in the press box as we look at the lineup here for game number 2. Kobe Carr is going to be the man on the mound. Coach, though, let's talk about game number 1. That was a good win and one that you guys kind of really started to get in the groove. Had 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, and then those 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning to finish out the 10-run win. Kind of warmed up to the task after that first inning.
Yeah, guys are really, especially now they're kind of on a win streak, and guys got their confidence going. And as you saw there late in the game, we got a bunch of guys, some at-bats, and even those guys are stepping in the box confident, taking some good hacks, being patient, trying to put a ball in play, and doing a good job for us.
Garrett Stout hits that 2-run home run. He went 1 for 4 in the ball game, but he really got into that one.
Yeah, he did. He was struggling early to get the ball in play without just lazy pop-ups, and he's put in the work in practice and has spent the time after practice almost every day working on his cut, taking some good swings and making some really good adjustments, and we saw it there on that last swing he took.
11 runs, 11 hits, 4 men left on base. The numbers are trending the right direction for Post State instead of the other way as it was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we're doing a much better job. We're aggressive on the base paths, and we're swiping bags when we can, and it's not white calling steals. It's guys know when they have a green light. They're doing a really good job of timing up pitchers in the dugout. We got some different charts down there that guys are taking that are really helping us get that advantage on the base paths. And then we have guys that are putting the ball in play when we need them to. We're getting runners on with less than 2 outs, and we're doing a good job of shortening up our swing, putting the ball in play on the ground, and moving runners.
Here in game number 2, let's talk about Kobe Carr. What do you expect from him, or what do you want to see from him here, especially in the first couple innings after a 10-run win?
Like to see him get in the zone early. When he threw out at 22, first couple innings, it took him a little bit to get settled down and get back in the zone, but then he really did find the zone, and that's the one thing we talked about was we got to get in the zone and get in it early. Here with playing 8 games this week, we need some guys that are able to go a little bit longer, go the distance a little bit like Jack just did for us.
And talk about Van Camp's performance on the mound.
He was lights out up there tonight. There was a couple times where he lost the zone and had some walks, but then he really did a good job of settling himself down, making some adjustments and getting back in the zone. And that's what he came off the mound, and he had some swagger coming off the mound, and definitely good to see him get back on top.
You're becoming a natural at this.
You're making me think a lot here. You're making me think.
Then that puts you speechless saying that you're doing a good job. Coach Nathan Nas, appreciate the time. Good luck in game number 2. And, we might be making this a routine thing now in between games.
We might have to. If we keep winning, White's going to make this a regular thing.
As you said earlier, you're not superstitious. You're just a little stitious.
It's only weird if it doesn't work, right?
That's right. Exactly. Coach Nathan Nas of the Post State baseball team. They win 11-1 in game number 1. We'll step aside for 3 minutes and come back. We'll give you the lineup for Post State in game number 2 after this 3-minute timeout. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium as we get set for game number 2, we have the lineup for the Post State baseball team. As we go through that, a little bit different look going into this second, for this second game as Kobe Carr is on the mound for Post State. It will be Andrew Coverdale leading things off, playing second base. The top 3 don't change. Garrett Stout will play short and bat second. Andy Gordon will play first and bat third. Benedin's going to be in the cleanup spot as the DH. Kate Hinkle is the number 5 hitter as the catcher. Jack Van Camp is out in center field batting 6th. Lincoln Keenels will move up 2 spots to the third base. Will Van Camp is going to be in right field batting 8th, and Elliott Life will be in left field as he bats 9th. Still waiting for the Aberdeen lineup to make its way up to the press box so we can get that taken care of, as we're probably about 10 minutes away or so from getting that second game started, as Post State will look for another doubleheader sweep, which would be 6 in a row for Post State, as they are now 6-3 on the season and have won their last 5 ball games as they continue to play well and looking to add to that doubleheader sweep of Aberdeen if they can get that one before Sioux Falls comes to town tomorrow, and which would be another 2 good games coming up tomorrow afternoon, taking on the Sioux Falls West team. Again, thanks to Coach Ryan Kruger that joined us here in the broadcast booth for game number 1. Also passed along, and we'll pass along again as Kirk Bebout is the new head coach for the girls basketball team for Pierre, as he has been hired. The athletic director Brian Mosier sent an email out just about an hour ago, and Coach Bebout is the new head man for the girls basketball team. Last 7 years as the head coach of the Hamlin Chargers, as he will take over for Scott DeBoer as he is moving to Watertown with his family, as his wife took a job as a principal in the elementary school over in Watertown. So Coach Bebout, we will welcome him in, and we'll see if we can't get him for an interview at some point up here in the press box. He can join us, and we can talk some basketball as well as some baseball, as he is the new head coach of the Pierre girls basketball team, Kirk Bebout, going into the 2020-2021 season. Game number 2 is going to be starting here shortly. We'll step aside for another 3 minutes and come back with hopefully Aberdeen's lineup for game number 2. You're listening to Post State Baseball, and today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com.